So here we are, Israel turns 78 tomorrow, starting at the sunset. I looked into this 14th of May 1948, and yes, indeed, there was something interesting happening there, and I'll have more details on that after the familiar overview. But yeah, the birthday seems to be correctly here, according to 365.25, as I had in my earlier videos, and also the sun's position in Taurus seems to confirm this. So now this is the real deal, and yes, it might be that something significant happens before we come to the end of the 17th. So I have that more on that in the last slide as well. And now we are exactly 7 days to Shavuot, so the Feast of Weeks of the Hebrews. And I know Pentecost is kind of it's kind of 1-to-1, but it always should be on Sunday and all these sort of things. But anyways, if we look at the count to 50, it ends for the Hebrews in 7 days, and that might be significant because I think they are the ones that will be awoken at the rapture. Many of them might realize things at the rapture. And then I looked into this as in the days of Noah and as in the days of Lot. So Noah means rest and Lot means veiled. So then connecting that to the Sabbaths and to the bride. So I have on that, and as you know, my kind of favorite feast, appointed time for the rapture is the first fruits. So now we have the first fruits on May 16th, 17th. So I'll make the case for why that could be actually the a very, very high watch dates, at least for me. So looking at the familiar overview first, we are now in the 13th. So here on the Wednesday, and Israel will be indeed turning 78 tomorrow. But I have much more on this in the next slide. So moving on, Sun enters Taurus tomorrow as well, just like in 1948. So that confirms the time of the year. The season is correct. Additionally, we have many things converging tomorrow. So that's Jesus' Ascension Day to heaven, Passover 2 from second full moon, a last day of unleavened bread 2 from second new moon. So that would make this an appointed time and a Sabbath as well. And looking at this Sabbath, so as in the days of Noah, that's the rest, so Sabbath. These 4 days are actually Sabbaths. So this is the weekly Sabbaths from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. But now from Thursday sunset to Friday sunset, this is the Sabbath due to the unleavened bread 2, if we've counted correctly. And then this is due to the Feast of Weeks of the Hebrews, the Shavuot in here. Why I call this 14th to 15th a veiled Sabbath is due to that no one is celebrating this unleavened bread 2 in here except for us watch community, watch men and watch women. We are the only ones that actually have even calculated it to be here. So I don't see at least any news on anyone else celebrating unleavened bread 2 and Sabbath in here. And if you look at the celebrations of the independence in Israel, they probably there's no difference because everyone will be celebrating and not having a Sabbath there. So that would prove it in some sense that it's a veiled Sabbath. Then additional comment is that I think now we are in this birthing pains moment in which the watching cycles come closer and closer together. So that is like baby is just about to be born. And the tarry of the bridegroom from last September, and then from 3rd of March, the midnight moment. I think it was God's Land Down Under channel that I heard this first, that the tarry of the bridegroom is the test. So we could think that why is it taking so long, but that is the test. And if you're still watching, you're still having that blessed hope, or if you're even new, just come in and learning about all these sort of things, you have a gift, basically. It seems like you have been chosen for such a time as this, to be watching and expecting. So just know that this is the test, the tarry. And then the 16th in here. Now, if we do have the 14th day in here, and then we have the second day after that 14th day from the second full moon, then 16th would be first fruits. So that's Saturday sunset to Sunday sunset. So that would no longer be Sabbath, and that would all not be in the unleavened bread season anymore, because we are to bring those 2 wave loaves with leaven. So maybe the barley first fruits is indeed the point in which the rapture happens. And then we have the 17th of Ziv, the day on which the flood started. And now the sun is in Taurus, the second sign. So that would make this full moon season the second month. So it would be right before the flood begins, and right before the moon is missing from the Auriga. So in the moon transits, this is the day on which the time window on which it's usually going to the Good Shepherd, but this time it's missing. I had an earlier video on this, but I'll make a new video on Monday if we're still here. We'll see. Alright, moving on. So the Israel Independence Day was a bit something significantly weird happened. So let me go through that. So the British mandate, so the British owned or had the mandate on Israel, and it ended precisely at midnight on 14th of May. So that means at midnight when it turned into 15th of May. Yeah. So that midnight fell on a Friday night, early Saturday morning. So the mandate ended exactly as Friday turned into Saturday. Israel, however, declared independence already on the afternoon on Friday, before the sunset, because that's when the Sabbath began. They couldn't celebrate or do any formal declarations during a Sabbath. So they did it before the sunset, and they did it before they basically had the permission, or when before it really was even possible. They did it due to the Sabbath. So they did it a bit too early. Now if they would have waited until the midnight, they would have needed to wait until 15 sunset, and then they could do the declaration. So that would be basically 2 days. So we'll see if this is significant. But if it is, then it could be that 14 and 15 will pass, and on the 16th or the 17th he will come to take his people. We'll see very soon, friends. Finally, I have more on this days of Noah, and Noah means rest, and as in the days of Lot, and Lot means veiled. So if it will happen on a veiled Sabbath or during a veiled moon. Veiled Sabbath is the 14th, and the 14th is in many, many ways, due to the convergence and due to this veiled Sabbath, also significant. So God is perhaps pointing to the birthday of Israel, the most important day in recent Israel history, maybe one of the most important days in history for Israel, the Independence Day. And then 2 days later we have a new moon, or a veiled moon. The bride in the tradition was veiled all the way through the wedding. Even Jacob did not recognize, Israel did not recognize Leah, but only after the fact, and went to Laban and said, I wanted Rachel, and now you gave me Leah. See? Could it be that this is significant? And then once I'll actually show this already, so for the Shavuot celebrations next week, what do the Hebrews do? They read the book of Ruth. And who is Ruth? Ruth is the Gentile bride that the kinsman redeemer, who is the idiom of Jesus, marries. Is this the master plan, that the rapture happens and then the Hebrews start to read the book of Ruth during the Shavuot, and then they realize they connect? And that's precisely 7 days later. We will see, my friends. If we're still here next week, I'll make a new one on Monday. If you find this information useful, please like and share. God bless you.